Hi, this is Juan from JuanTutors.com. Welcome to my totally free office hours. Today we're working on the January 2017 Algebra 1 Common Core Regents. If you want to access these exams anywhere in the world, go to nysedregents.org and click on the appropriate link. All right, let's get started. Here's problem 20. Noah conducted a survey on sports participation. He created the following two dot plots to represent the number of students participating by age in soccer and basketball. And I look briefly at the diagrams. So I see the clumping and things like that. And I see the clumping over here. Soccer players, I read from 6 to 12. Basketball from 6 to 12. Okay, right enough. Briefly, I'll look more deeply later. That's what I always do. Which statement about the given data set is correct? The data for soccer players are skewed right, or the data for soccer players has less spread than the data for basketball players, or the data for basketball players has the same mean as the data for soccer players, or the data for basketball players has a greater mean than the data for soccer players. Try this problem on your own. See if you get the same answer that we do. And if you do, hit the like button, all right? Okay, so what do we do? I do know the answer just from reading it, but I don't want to because I want to address all these types of answers. So what does it mean for the data to be skewed to the right? It would mean that there are more dots to the right than there are to the left, and in fact, the soccer player data is skewed to the left. So left. The second one, the data for the soccer players has less spread than the data for the basketball players. When this is talking about the spread, they're talking about the standard deviation. Now, do I recommend that you put the data in the calculator and calculate the standard deviation? You can do that. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. I think you can. Unless there's an answer that comes up and you know the answer. What you would do if you wanted to do that, you go to press the stat button and you edit the lists and you do L1 and ends up being 6, 6, 6, 7, 7. Or you could do I don't want to do it this way. 6, I'll say 6 occurs 6, 7, 8, let's do it this way, 9, 10. You could do what I was just doing a second ago, 11 and 12. Now, I don't recommend that you calculate the standard deviation necessarily, but L2 will be the list of how often each one occurs. 6 occurs 3 times, 7 occurs 4 times, 8 occurs 2 times, 9 occurs 2 times, 10 occurs 3 times, 11 occurs 2 times, and 12 occurs 2 times. And what you do, so now you check that everything got matched well. You go to stat, calc, and then one variable statistics. Now list is L1. Then there's a frequency list. You could put L2. L2 is do stat. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. It's list L2. List is above stat, okay? And then the frequency list tells you how often a certain variable appears. This is a good way to do it if, for example, you have more than, let's say, 5 or 6 data points. If you have a lot of data points, like 20, 30, 60 data points, but you know the numbers that appear are only about 6 or 7 numbers, then a frequency list is very useful there. So now we get, in this case, we get this is the number of students participating. This is all students. So the spread is 2. The standard deviation is 2. So then if you do the same thing for the basketball players, then you can calculate the standard deviation for them. That's a little bit of effort, but you can do it that way. Now I will say this though, you can visually see that the soccer players ages are actually spread more. Why? Because the peaks, the data is spread. The data is flatter, whereas the basketball player data has a peak at 11 and 12. Okay, so the data is very largely skewed to the right, so the spread is lower. Whereas for the soccer players, that's spread more evenly, so the spread is going to be bigger. Okay. that's just an intuitive approach. Of course, again, if you don't believe that, then you can go ahead and calculate the standard deviation for the basketball players too. But that's not it. So the third one, the data for the basketball players has the same median as the data for the soccer players. Now the median is the middle number in the data. I doubt that they have the same median because this peak is so much bigger. But you can calculate the median very quickly, or even where it should be, 6, 6, 7. So I'm crossing out one dot from the largest group and one dot from the lowest group. So they have the same, the basketball players has a median of 10. And let's do the same thing for the soccer players. Now the soccer players has to be 9 or 8 because the date is actually skewed slightly left. But if you don't believe that either, let's just keep going. And notice that this one, even though I mentioned the calculating the standard deviation takes a while. So the standard deviation is actually right there, 8.5. But I'm sorry, not the standard deviation. The median is 8.5. But no, even though I recommended that calculating the standard deviation for both data sets, it takes a while. Calculating the standard deviation for the median for the data sets does not take very long at all. Now the fact also that this is skewed so far to the right also gives you a hint that this is not false. This is not true. That the median for the basketball is greater than the median for soccer. No, so that means that the answer for number 4, that the data for the basketball players has a greater mean than the data for the soccer players, and that's just obvious. Mean is the arithmetic mean, the average. The data is skewed to the right, so the data has a mean that's greater than 9, and in fact significantly greater than 9, probably around 10. Whereas the data for the soccer players is skewed ever so slightly to the left, so the data is going to be slightly below 9. So this is going to be above 9, this means going to be above 9, and this means going to be below 9. So this is very true. Hey, thanks for watching. If you're watching from one of our playlists, hit the fast forward button to start the next video right now. If not, go to youtube.com, search for JuanTutors.com, click on the name, and definitely hit the subscribe button, and click on the bell if you want to receive notifications when we post new videos, and scroll to the bottom. All of our playlists are going to be right at the bottom. Just click on the appropriate playlist and play all the videos from there. And if you feel like you need a little extra boost with tutoring, go to our website, check out our testimonials, and if you feel like we're right for you, you can click on the Contact Us link and contact us straight from the page. Thanks for watching.